welcome to the Gastroenteritis Blues on a suddenly great day. My name is Steve Lippman, joined as always by Emily Cannell. Emily, I ask you, what is your favorite Halloween candy, and is it different now than it was when you were but a child?
So I think it's pretty boring, but I think it's peanut butter cups. They're delicious, and I
Reese's
like
or
to
off-brand?
Reese's. I'm not a
Okay, weird that
psycho.
you just said peanut butter cups.
Um, I thought it was like Kleenex for tissue. Like you say peanut butter cup and you know what I'm talking about.
Got it.
But yeah, I like to eat them in the freezer. So when we put our Halloween candy out, I saved some for myself and I put
Mhm.
mine in the freezer. Um, so yeah, I think when I was little I probably liked them too, but I love chocolate. I love all candy, so I've always liked candy.
Mhm.
I never liked like weird things like Charleston chews.
Did you dress up for Halloween? I love a fucking Charleston shoe, and I feel like you said that just to needle
Because
me,
I
because
think I
you know
knew
it's
that
my
you love
absolute
Charleston.
tip top love it. Um, I, uh, I, let me. Did you dress up for Halloween this year?
I did not.
Okay, nor did I.
I did hand out
I
candy though.
That's nice. I wish we live in an apartment. Didn't get trick or treaters, but I try to keep a happy home here. You know, in my with my betrothed Gabrielle, but she brought up recently that the calendar has turned to fall here, Halloween times. I did not get her a pumpkin Reese's. You know, they don't
Mm.
taste like pumpkin, but they are in the shape of pumpkins. And I think I did this last year, and this year I didn't. And on Monday, too little, too late, I went to every like store and bodega in Astoria, failed. Nobody had it. I was knocking on every door and I
Are the
failed.
Christmas
So
tree Reese's out already?
I don't know what that is. As we'll get to later when we talk about the Nets, I am Jewish, so I don't.
Don't know
So
what a Christmas tree is.
I've never even heard of one. So yeah, I know I couldn't even. No, those sound great though. They're just in the shape of them, and
Hmm.
they don't taste like holly or anything, but
No.
they sound great. All right, news broke just maybe an hour and a half ago from Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, that James Harden, what the fuck happened to him? Let's
Sprained
get
a
to it.
muscle in his foot or something?
Suffered a right foot tendon strain and is
Strain.
expected to miss a month. Right now it is
Uh,
November 3rd. Quick math, that would put us right around December 3rd. So, how do you feel about this? I think it's because the Phillies are in the World Series, but I'm having a hard time getting jazzed up one way or the other about the Sixers these days, which is tough because it's a Sixers podcast, but I think they'll probably be fine. Like at the end of the season, I won't feel bad about Harden having like however many, whatever it'll be, maybe 10 fewer games on his tires, Obviously adding another lower body injury onto him is not great, but it's not a hamstring, which lingers like crazy, as we've seen. He's played very well to start the year, so it's not great to stop that momentum. And we've seen him put on some weight when he's not working out. So I hope that doesn't happen. But I think they'll mostly be fine, especially if Joel comes back in short order here. So that's basically how I feel about it. What do you think?
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not great. It's not like what I was hoping would happen today. Like, fingers crossed, I hope I wake up, the Phillies win and James
Right.
Harden's out for a month. But I think they'll be fine. I mean, this is kind of why we added like all of these other pieces in the off season, just to have more people when one guy goes down, because we are cursed with injuries. So I think it'll be fine. I hope that he does some working out, like whatever he can do with this foot
Yeah.
strain. Um, and I think it'll be fine. I don't think there's like that many crazy games. I mean, it still feels like the very beginning of the season that none of these games really matter. Like, I don't know when I'll start feeling like games matter, but it's not right now. So it doesn't like really register for me. I'm like, it's like preseason basically, like whatever.
For me, I do feel like it's when the World Series ends that I'll be like, oh, I love the Sixers, and
Yeah.
I will resume really caring about the Sixers winning and losing every night, because
Yeah.
these days it's like I know I have to pay attention, uh, but it's been tough.
Last night, Jordy was like, "Are you gonna put the Sixers up on the computer when the World Series starts?" And I was just like, No, we'll just watch the World Series and I'll see
Sure.
what happens on my phone at the end. They
Yeah,
lost. That's what
right.
happened.
Right, they lost, and so D'Anthony Melton will obviously be the starter, and lots of ball handling for Tyrese Maxey, more post ups for Embiid, who has the flu right now. I don't know if he's better yet, but he'll be more of like the fulcrum on offense than Harden stuff, and some theorizing on Twitter from friends of ours about signing Kemba Walker. I definitely think he sucks and has sucked for a while, Kemba Walker, but certainly would be a funny thing to sign him and just have him run around for a while. Some people were saying, is this what'll get Doc fired? Sadly, I don't think so. I think that this will be
This
sort of a
is an
mulligan.
excuse to keep Doc
Right.
around.
Right. And I also think they'll be fine. I don't think they're about to lose like 15 in a row. I think they're going to win. I think they'll be fine. As long as Embiid's not out for an extended period simultaneously. Like, I think Embiid will heal from the flu and they're going to be just fine. Maxey's incredible. We can transition now into talking about the games. This past week, Drew might pop in and tell me I'm wrong about what games they played, but I believe they played the Raptors and won without Joel. They played the Bulls and won with Joel. They played the Wizards and won without Joel, and then they played the Wizards and won without Joel. Nope, I think I said that wrong. They played the most recent game was that they lost without Joel against the Wizards. They split against the Wizards. Anyway, so yeah, they've been treading water without Joel, and that's impressive. And the most recent thing was that people are having a meltdown, justified meltdown about B-Ball Paul, friend of the show, who Doc hates. Like, I don't know
Hates
why.
him.
He it's personal with Doc and B-Ball Paul. I don't know why. I guess because he's a weirdo and because he gives strange quotes. And he loves Montrezl Harrell, but he also loves just any old weirdo who comes in there. Rainey's flapping around in the wind. But like last night, B-Ball Paul comes in and has like a really exciting, effective stretch. And people are writing online that Doc immediately starts like yelling at B-Ball Paul about anything. Just like he picks any small thing and like lectures him on the sideline. And B-Ball Paul plays 5 minutes as a +4 in like a 10-point loss. It's like, what's going? I don't understand. And so that's like the thing to be upset about. And we all predicted it. And it's just like the most, Montrezl Harrell can't jump anymore. And he's still 6'7", and he's the backup center. And what can you do? So thoughts on that?
Yeah, not only that, like everyone like watched B-Ball Paul come in and was like, this is great. Like these are like actual productive backup center minutes. Like, I mean, doesn't do the things like offensively that Joel can do, but like certainly Montrezl Harrell can't do them either. And so we're like, this is something. And then Doc Rivers' response after the game is just like, I thought he was okay. Like, he gave us energy, blocked some shots, just like, eh. And I'm just like, this man hates him. He's just like, I will never let him,
I
touch
don't
the floor
understand.
again.
Like, he won't give him any credit in the media. Like, it honestly feels personal, and I don't get, like, because even when you're everybody remembers, but like when he was having his best games last year, he was like immediate to say we're not having a B-Ball Paul, like a Paul Reed. What was it? Ticker tape parade? I forget what the quote was.
Yeah, something like that.
Victory party. I forget what
Victory
it was.
lap or something.
Yeah, victory tour, something like that. So I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him about B-Ball Paul, but there's something about that guy that he despises, and I don't get it because we love it.
Maybe because he has a cooler nickname. Like B-Ball Paul is a cooler nickname than Doc because someone has the nickname Doc, so he just is like Doc 2, and that's pretty lame.
Right, and Doc Rivers' nickname is Fuck Doc Rivers. And Maxey's just incredible. I can't get over, like, it's the most predictable thing in the world that he's incredible, more incredible than he was, but somehow it's just jarring every game that he's great. I love Melton. Melton has a back thing. He missed yesterday's game. It doesn't seem to be devastating. Famous last words. Just wait for the like Shams tweet that says like he's dead. Not actually. Who else? Anybody else that you want to talk to from this little stretch here? Joel hit like a sort of not game winner, but like a game sealer in the Bulls game, which was nice, like a 3 off of a Harden 2-man action, which was nice. Yeah, anything else from this little week of games here?
Nothing too much. I think it'll be interesting that when Joel gets healthy again to see Joe with Maxey and not Harden and just kind of see like what they can get going because the Joel like Harden Maxey with the 3 of them on the court has been driving me up a wall. I don't like anything that I see when the 3 of them are on because I just feel like, well, I don't think Joel and Harden move the ball at all and it drives me crazy. So I'm interested to see if like Joe and Maxey can get into some kind of rhythm and that will like help figure out rotations a little bit because yeah, I just need more ball movement and I'm hoping that maybe this will lead us in that direction.
Is it when it's the 3 of them on the floor, is it because it's too much like your turn, my turn type of thing? Is that what bothers you?
I just don't
it?
think that Harden and Embiid pass to anybody else except Harden and Embiid. And I'm just like, there are other very talented people like Tyrese Maxey on this court. Like, why are you just not doing anything with him?
I mean, other people have said that Maxey's like huge games have been coming when Embiid hasn't been playing. Now, some of that is common sense that they need points to be scored and he's going to have to shoot more. But obviously, ideally, you want the 3 of them firing on all cylinders, you know. Beginning of the playoffs last year, I think that there were stats going around about how all 3 of them were scoring like 20 plus points. And that's where you want to get to. Like I'm sure right now they're all averaging like 22 plus points but you just want to see it looking smoother because there is like, you know, Harden's numbers without Joel on the court are great and Maxey's numbers without Harden on the court are great. And it's like, you just want more cohesion.
Yeah. Like if we can get into like a good 3-man rotation where like at any point in time, 2 of them are on the court and those 2 people are playing great, that would be like perfect. But like when all 3 of them are on the court, I feel like it's just like a jumbled mess.
Right. And like, if anything to worry about with this Harden missed month here, it's like they already didn't get off to a very good start, and now they're missing a month to gel all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But it's a long season, and like they'll have plenty of time, and hopefully the new coach will really, you know, grab this by the horns and take care of things. Anything else? Shake has longer hair and is playing very poorly.
He looks like a little Joel with his hair.
Yes. Yeah. Looks like a little Joel.
I like it.
Niang's hitting a bunch of shots. PJ Tucker and Harden had a very cute little video on social media that the Sixers put out on social media. Did you see this? Talking about Maxey?
Yeah, and I'd never heard PJ Tucker talk before, and that's not what I expected his voice.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of high. He did, weird.
Yes, he's got like a high voice. He did a Reddick's podcast, I think last year, and I listened to that. Who else? Korkmaz MIA. Nobody knows where the fuck he is. He's gone. But maybe now he'll get out there a little bit. Who else need we talk about? Danuel House doesn't look like he can play at all.
No.
Kind of hilarious though. Somebody else has called him the like wing b-ball Paul, just because he's all limbs and like flapping around. I enjoy that.
Tobias, just Yeah,
he's around.
He just does what he does. He just is there.
Does what he does. He's like scoring 15, 16 a game. I think he's shooting off the catch like a lot, and to my eye, I think pretty well. I'm not sure what his numbers are so far this year, but I think that they're going in. He hasn't bothered me, when I watch him. I think he's been fine. Like I still think it's a little bit like having 2 power forwards out there with him and PJ. Like their defense has been an issue. Like they're not playing good defense, and I don't know what exactly to blame that on. Like Maxey and Harden are not a great defensive backcourt. That's like a thing. But they need to play better defense. And in games without Joel, that's going to be a thing no matter what. But like overall, they need to be way better on defense to be one of the top teams. But
it's kind of slow. I wish they were faster.
Yeah, they're a slow team, and so more b-ball Paul would certainly help that, because he adds lots of athleticism and randomness to their team that they don't often have. So so that's basically stuff that we saw from the last week. Now we're going to take an ad break. When we get back, We're going to talk about the Sixers being robbed of 2 second-round picks and anti-Semitism.
Everyone's favorite.
All right, so here's the ad break. We're back. All right. So the league was doing an investigation of the Sixers into their offseason activities, and Shams reported that the NBA took away the Sixers' second-round picks in 2023 and 2024 for early free agent discussions last offseason. And the Sixers put out a statement that was just like, we acknowledge this ruling and we're moving forward. The league also said that there was nothing, they found nothing untoward about what happened with Harden. So I always thought that the big thing to worry about was what happened with Harden, because I thought that like what they really were concerned with was that the Sixers promised Harden a big max deal next year, and that's why he took $15 million off of this contract. Or that Michael Rubin like sent him a Venmo of $15 million, and that's like not cool. Or like before he fully was not with the team, and like that's not okay. But the fact that they found no wrongdoing there, and then still docked them these two, like it felt like they launched this investigation and then they were like, well, we got to fine him for something. Like we can't just be like nothing was wrong, because they did sign those guys that we all knew they were going to sign. To me, it's just like, listen, the Sixers did what literally every team does. So like, to me, it just feels like silly bullshit that like they took away these picks. Like, I guess it's true, but it feels a little selective that they took it away from the Sixers.
Yeah, like we say this every year. Like as soon as the dead like free agency opens, like you get 85 tweets about who people are signing, and like there's literally no way for that to happen unless they discuss it before free agency starts. So like it's that obvious, but sure, fine us for it. Like whatever. I don't really care.
Well, and also like the NBA does not want to solve that issue. Like the NBA fetishizes the trade deadline and the free agency period. Like they love all the content, and
They do
Woj
like the 24 hours
rock
on
star.
ESPN
Like,
and
yeah, Woj has like, he's signing autographs. He's like a superstar. Shams is like partnering with FanDuel. Like, come on, like you guys are complicit in this whole thing. Like, come on, like if you really want to tamp this down, then like there are ways around it if you actually wanted to stop it, but you don't. Like, to me, it felt like the Heat probably really complained about the PJ Tucker thing, and they put up a big enough stink that the NBA had to look into it. But like, the Knicks signed or hired Jalen Brunson's dad like months and months ago to try to hire him to try to sign his son, and like I think there might be an investigation going there, but like that's clearly tampering, and I don't care, certainly not at all. I think everybody does this, and everybody should do this because that's what's smart. But I guess the Sixers were maybe bold about it, but I feel like there were just as many reports about the Sixers as there were about everybody else, and there were so many signings at 601. So like, what's the difference?
literally nothing. I don't understand.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, here's this. Kyrie Irving. Now, was it a retweet or an Instagram post, or does it not matter? I think the answer is it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Okay. So he would be upset if I said he promoted it. So careful. But he reposted or retweeted or posted a link to an anti-Semitic or a documentary that you guys all know what the fuck is happening, but it's a documentary that has a ton of anti-Semitic tropes and content like riddled throughout it. It's like a 3-hour long documentary based on a book with all of the same kinds of shit in it, which is disgusting and horrible. After that, he did like a media availability where he defended it. He said that he watched it and that people should watch it. And he got into a back and forth with Nick Friedel of ESPN. He was leaving the availability. He screamed, "Change your life, bro," at Nick. He said, "I wish we cared more about Black reproductive rights and all the things that actually matter than what I'm posting." These are not mutually exclusive. You don't
They
have
can
to
both matter.
choose. Yes, they can and do both matter. So he has this sort of meltdown at this media availability, and then after that, lots of the media members watch this documentary, and within it are like lots of quotes from Hitler and like worse shit than they even imagined. Kyrie really defended what he was watching and was saying that it's just absolute endless bullshit, basically. Now, what ends up happening here, I guess we'll just go one by one here with the Nets. The Nets end up basically telling Kyrie to shut up for a few days after this meltdown at a press conference. They go and meet with the Anti-Defamation League, but Kyrie does not meet with the Anti-Defamation League. He sends his father and his mother to meet with the Anti-Defamation League instead of him. He puts out a joint statement where he donates like $500,000 with the Nets. He says, "I am aware of the negative impact my post towards the Jewish community, and I take responsibility. I do not believe everything in the documentary was true or reflects my morals and principles. I didn't mean to cause any harm. I'm not the one who made the documentary," okay? Because he talked today. Multiple times today, he said, "I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from." Now, they said, they asked Kyrie if he personally met with the ADL. He said, "I was informed that they wanted to have a meeting and we handled it." So he never met with them personally.
Then other people handled it.
In all of his statements, he refused to actually apologize for his comments to the Jewish community. And Adam Silver released a statement basically, denouncing what Kyrie posted and saying that he wants to meet with him. And Nick Friedel actually put out that the league and people within the Nets wanted to hear Kyrie say, first of all, "I'm not anti-Semitic," and second of all, "I apologize," and he did neither of those things. All of this shit is horrible, and he seems like a piece of shit. It's just really dangerous and bad, and like it's growing also. Like, pay attention to any of the Kanye stuff. Like, it's just really bad. It's just a really bad thing. All this is obvious to like good or even just rational people. But I also think it's very dispiriting how little we've heard from current active players and people within the league denouncing it. You're just not hearing much from people being like, "Hey, that's awful. Like, that's just plainly really bad." Like, Jaylen Brown has had very bad comments around the Kanye stuff, and it's very disappointing to see. Durant won't touch this. Like, nobody on the Nets has said anything. Like, nobody will really do anything about it, and nobody in the league is really touching it. Kyrie's extremely popular. He has tons of fans, and I think he's very admired throughout the league. So it's a bummer. Yaron Weitzman, who's a friend of the podcast, has been all over this a lot, just sort of analyzing it, and he covers the Nets a good bit, just talking about how anti-Semitic words lead to a lot of harm in the Jewish community, and it's just very dangerous. So I don't know exactly what the solution is, but he's going to play. He's going to play every single game, and nobody's doing anything to him, and it's very, very scary, and doesn't seem to have any end in sight, because he's not going to back down. He didn't back down off the vaccine thing, and he's certainly not going to back down off this. So that's basically that. Yeah. Do you have anything on this?
No, I just think I agree with everything you said. And he's just continuing to like ramble on in the media. Like, they asked today about him sharing that, and he was like, "I'm a beacon of light. I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. Any label you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I know the Oxford Dictionary." So that's great for him. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's concerning, like, I'm pretty sure Kyrie's, like, the vice president of, like, the Players Association or something. He's, like, on the board of the, like, Players Association, and you
Yeah, I
would
don't
think
know.
with these things that, players might come around and be like, "Hey, man, you don't represent us, like, let's, like, get him off of there." And I also think it's terrible that, like, the Nets haven't done anything about this. Like, they are perfectly within their rights to, like, ban him from team activities, like, make him like,
Yeah,
the Meyer this that kind of thing happened, not like in like an anti-Semitic thing with Myers Leonard last year. And then the
yeah, I
team
saw
banned him
this.
from team activities, and they made him go to a diversity course, and they made him pay a fine, and they did all this stuff. And I'm not saying that the Nets have to do those exact things, like that's the rules they have to follow, but they're perfectly within their rights to, like, reprimand him for this behavior, and they're not. So what does that say? Like, how much do they care? I don't it doesn't really they're not really speaking through their actions, except
No,
these, like,
what it
bullshit
says is
statements they
Kyrie's
put
way
out.
better at basketball than Myers Leonard. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
and that's
because
shitty.
that's horrible. That's horrible. Like Myers Leonard said a slur. He was on this stream. Like
Yeah,
I don't want to really get into like comparing who.
which is worse.
Yeah, no, like I don't really give a shit. Like not that I don't give a shit, but I don't really want to get into the weeds of that sort of thing. But I absolutely think in terms of comparing punishments, uh, Kyrie hasn't been punished at all. They just didn't let him do media for a couple of days, which is honestly a reward. And Myers Leonard immediately apologized and got banned from team activities. He's not in the league anymore. He's not a good player, but like it absolutely is commensurate with how his on-court ability is important to his team, um, and how he's thought of in the league. Like, CJ McCollum, has he said anything? He's the president of Players Association. Has he said anything about this? Like, so then, okay, we only have a bit left, but like, then the Nets go ahead and are going to poach Ime Udoka from the Celtics. Ime Udoka, who at the time, now the Nets have not officially done this, I think, because they saw some of the public backlash. And I think that excuse me, I think that they saw some of the public backlash and are maybe waiting a bit now. But they are going to basically hire Ime Udoka, who's serving a year-long suspension from the Celtics. And now this is for as we know, the relationship he had with the staffer there that they said was consensual, but certainly inappropriate. Sham said that he was making basically lewd comments to her that made her uncomfortable. Celtics just won the East, and then they went ahead and suspended him for a year, and clearly was never gonna coach them again. So, like, the Celtics were not eager to get rid of Ime Udoka at that point. Like, it was we don't know. There's a lot of ambiguity around what happened with Ime, but it clearly was bad enough that they got rid of their like young, super good, promising head coach. And then the Nets just decide to go ahead and get him because they can. It's just like gross. The whole thing feels really disgusting. So that's that.
Yeah, I just don't understand, like, who the not even like, I don't it is gross, but, like, who thinks this is a good idea? Like, you're
Yeah,
having this thing with Kyrie, and it's like, "Oh, like, is this gonna make your PR situation better?"
yeah.
Like, I just don't understand who is, like, okaying these decisions. I don't understand what they're doing.
Drew just said no. The NBPA did put out a statement. Now, Drew, was that Michelle Roberts or was that CJ or both?
It's just I have it. It's just
Okay.
Yeah, it
the
doesn't say
NBPA.
exactly
Okay.
who said it.
Because for me, it's like I wish that people would put their names on like anti-Semitism is unacceptable and wrong and like
Love CJ McCollum. Like, that's what I would like.
yeah, it's just not hard. Like this is not, and it's also not this does not fly in the face of Black Lives Matter or Black reproductive right. Like none of it. Like you don't have to choose. Like Kyrie is trying to, in some of his statements, make it an opposition of one another, and you're compromising my voice. It's like, no, you have lined yourself up in opposition of Jewish people now, and you're pumping this documentary about all of these horrible things, and now you're defending it in a way that makes it so people are against you to begin with, when that wasn't the case. Like, so anyway.
And in their statement, they denounced hate speech, but they didn't mention Kyrie. They didn't say like anything, because he's one of their like vice presidents. So it's just like, okay, this is what you kind of had to do, but does it, it doesn't really, it just sounds like fluff and words, that the things that they had to do, but
All right, wrapping up, the Phil, we can't really talk about the Phils because this episode is going to come out, and then game five is going to happen within like 2 hours. But we're sending good vibes to the Phils, who we hope by the time you actually listen to this will be up 3-2 in the World Series. Can't believe we are in the World Series, but let's do it. Let's get some
vibes
hits.
Seem good at the ballpark pregame, so
yeah.
I think Jose Alvarado is riding a bike around the infield, so
Well, that's great. I love it.
Great for him.
All right, now Drew, do you possibly have the schedule up? Emily, can you please update the standings?
I can. So Dan had a huge week last week.
Whoa.
He went 4-0.
Whoa.
I know. So Steve, you went 3-1. I know 1-3. 1-3.
Yes.
And I also went 1-3. So Dan's in the lead at 5-4, then me at 3-6, and then you at 2-7.
2-7. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I just chose all losses.
And then they won 3 games.
Them. Yikes. All right, Drew. What do we got this week? I think I give up on choosing on locating the schedule. And we do know what Dan sent in. Dan,
yes.
I don't know what the games are, but Dan did send in his picks.
I believe they play the Knicks on Friday. I believe Friday or Saturday. My schedule's loading at the moment. And I know they play Phoenix on Monday. Both of those games are at home, and then they play at Atlanta on Thursday. So if we have to decide if we're picking, I guess we're picking Atlanta tonight for a post game on Thursday.
Right.
Okay. So
all right.
Knicks at home on Friday, Suns at home on Monday, Hawks on the road on Thursday.
Right. Okay. And Dan picked a win, a loss, and a loss. Yes. And these will be without James Harden. Emily, what's your choice?
I'm going to go a win, and a loss. I think they'll beat the Suns. That just seems like a random game that they'll win.
Bold. I am going to go, and Monday's the first guaranteed non-World Series game. A lot of pressure on them. I'm going to go a win, and a loss. Is that what you just said? That's what you just said. I'm with you. Okay. I'm with you. All right. Well, we've done it. Go Phils. Also Ben Simmons has a hurt knee. People have remarked online that it's a bit close to when he's supposed to come to Philadelphia. But heal up Ben. All right. Heal up James Harden. And I think that's
Ben Simmons still costs more on DraftKings than Tyrese Maxey. It's truly wild.
What does that mean?
You get like X amount of money to play with, and then so you like buy different players to like fill out your roster.
Daily fantasy.
So Ben Simmons like costs more to get on your team than Tyrese Maxey. It's like wild.
Very good stuff. All right. Great seeing you. Drew, great seeing you. Steve J. Littman, Third and Girl, D.A. Peltz 13, Gastro Blues Pod, the Gastro Blues Podcast, a Sixers podcast on YouTube. That's it. Rate us, subscribe, do it all. Be safe and be great. We love you. Go.